So let's start our next section, which is 12.2. It's about differentiation and integration of vector-valued functions. So we're going to start with differentiation. So let's define the derivative for a vector-valued function. The derivative of a vector-valued function R is R prime of t, and it's defined similar to derivatives of functions. It's defined in terms of a limit. The limit as delta t goes to 0, R of t plus delta t minus RT over delta t. And so let's say that our function, let's just go with a function here, a two-dimensional one. So it has an I component and a j component. And let's plug this into our derivative formula here and see what we get. So R prime of t would be the limit as delta t goes to 0 of f of t plus delta t I plus g of t plus delta t j minus, we're going to subtract r of t, so it'll be minus f of ti minus g of tj over delta t. And so then what we can do is in the numerator, we can combine up the I terms. As the limit as delta t goes to 0 of f of t plus delta t minus f of t over delta t I plus gt plus delta t minus g of t over delta t j. And then in our previous section we talked about limits of vector-valued functions. We just take the limit in each component here. So it's the limit of f of t plus delta t minus f of t over delta t I plus, now take the limit in the second component, the limit as delta t goes to 0, g of t plus delta t minus g of t over delta t j. And if you look at these two limits, they're exactly the derivative of f and the derivative of g. So in the end, we're getting f prime of t I plus g prime of t j. So if I want to find the derivative of the vector value function R, I just need to take the derivative in each component, okay? So kind of to sum up what we learned, if your vector valued function just has an I and a j component to it, and you want to take the derivative, r prime of t, it would be f prime of t, I, plus g prime of t, j. Or if your function had 3 components to it, an I, a j, or a k, there, the derivative, it's very similar. You just take the derivative in each component function. So it'd be f prime of ti, g prime of tj, and finally h prime of tk. And that's how we are going to take derivatives of vector valued functions.